And the cool thing about this expedition is we've got a partnership with Logan Rotary. And so Fred Berthron, who couldn't be here today, is kind of spearheading the Rotary connection.
Is Fred online?
He's not. We're recording this. Fred's going to watch this at some point.
I think he was out today.
Yeah.
But the cool thing is that he's been interfacing with Juan and Fred have been interfacing with the Rotary of Irapuato, I believe, right? Mm-hmm. And so they're excited about kind of co-participating on this expedition. And then the big picture cool idea would be that once we get one of these under the belt with Rotary, this is kind of their pilot system for them, even though we've done it before, is if they like this next expedition, they like what they see, they're happy about it, they want to write a grant and sponsor it for many, many more locations, like almost upwards of 20 locations, which is cool. And Keith, I know you've been talking to Fred about that. We've had a couple meetings on that. So I think Fred is a great guy. It's been fun to get to know him. I'm excited about the energy.
It sounds like his club's pretty excited about it too.
Yeah. And we went and presented, Nathan and I and Reed, who was a member of Logan Rotary, we went and presented to the Rotary in Logan. And that's kind of where it all started.
Yeah, it is not very good for me. I can't hear it.
Fit the bill. And they've partnered with Choice before in the past. They have a really great relationship with you guys. So they've got a great working relationship with you. Perfect fit on all accounts. And so we're hoping kind of from our standpoint, we're really excited.
You got it?
Hopefully this kind of
I'll turn my audio off.
Yeah, and then on reverb, maybe so logistically, Nate is going down. When are you going to be down there?
I'll be down there very first of the month. So we all get there the 6th, and then so I'll be down there probably like the 1st or even the very end to just make sure we get all the materials, make sure Lalo and our science prepped are ready. It's gonna be hard work for like 2 or 3 days, but we'll get it cranked out. All staged and ready to go.
And we can kind of just give a high level overview of itinerary. Anyone?
See, my volume's off.
Do you guys feel like you've got some exposure to that? I mean, I can give a really high line or really quick one. Cool. So, yeah, I mean, I got a few. So Choice has been around 35 years. And we have an approach to development that focuses on in-country teams. So we're in 7 countries. And in every country, we've got a team. You're going to work a lot with Juan. Hold them up there. You can see them. There's the team, the Mexico team. So it's actually one of our larger in-country teams. They've been operating in Mexico for 20 years. You won't recognize Juan when you get down there because now he has kind of a pirate beard. It's like red and amazing. But Juan's far left there. So in all of our countries, a team that's local native to the area, and they train communities, usually between 10 to 30 communities at a time over about a 3 to 5 year process. They're training community leadership to self-organize, identify their priorities, and leverage their own resources to execute a number of projects. And those projects span health, education, environmental preservation, cultural preservation, and economic development. And so in all those sectors, those projects are going on at any point. And that's what Choice does. And that's what Choice does, right? Training out their own work. So where expeditions plug in, expeditions is, a very small percentage of actual projects. They accelerate it through, a bunch of folks coming down, leveraging time, energy, resources. So it speeds a a lot of projects up, the ones that benefit from expeditions, but then it also, you know, for us generally is a social business that funds the, you know, dozens of communities that we're doing. That's the bread and butter work that Choice does outside of expeditions coming down. So what's unique about the Aquaponics project is it's kind of a partnership between FNC and Choice, where FNC really said, hey, let's pilot some technology, aquaponics. This is now the fourth installation, right, including the demo.
Yeah.
So they've invested, you know, I think on each trip, kind of the project capital for the resources, which allows us to have, you know, pretty much a at cost trip out there, which is a neat partnership. And then we're, you know, this is the fourth iteration, and models out for us what is a dream type of partnership in that pilot technology, iterate on it, improve upon it, and then find long-term sustainable partners in country like Rotary, like that. So that's kind of how this has evolved. So it's one project that's come a really long way and part of a much larger ecosystem in Choice. So this has kind of come a cool custom expedition where you guys focus in on the type of project. We don't really have a lot of expeditions that come in on this type of technical project. So
I think one of the other things that really makes this cool is back when Ryan and Lance and I did the very first one in Irapuato, they didn't really hardly know anything about aquaponics. And we were kind of teaching Lalo, he was learning, it was all brand new to him. And now he's like the guy down there. So if we do one of these projects in one of these remote villages and they have questions, they come to Lalo and they're like, hey, like, what do I do? The pH has done this, the fish are like dying, like whatever it is, they go to Lalo and he's the expert now. He's as dialed as I am on it. And so the more we've invested enough in him and in the Choice Mexico team now that the more projects we put down there, it just makes more sense in terms of having a network of projects that can support one another in terms of like what they've learned and what they can do.
That's awesome. It is to do like career life.
oh yeah.
Oh yeah, like that's not something you would have ever gotten.
Well, and
without,
what's Lala's education background?
Like middle school, and so
And you guys will see when you step onto the Choice Center, he's the resident technical expert who's managing an insane amount, and that's due to the apprenticeship, essentially through this partnership.
No, he didn't know what pH even meant, and now he can tell you what it does to the fish, what it does to the plants, like what it does to the nutrients and the thing. Like, yeah, he knows this stuff now, and he really dove in. He took off with this because he loved it. So he went down to Mexico City and did some like workshops and stuff. Just like paid his way down there, took some weekends just to go like learn more about the stuff. Like he loves it.
He's teaching us stuff too.
Oh yeah, and he's got. We'll see it when we go down there. Actually, he like redesigned basically like a flout. So one of the parts of our thing, we'll show some pictures of it later.
You want me to pull some of those up? Or?
Yeah, actually, if you want to pull the pictures up. So he like redesigned one little section of our thing by putting just a bucket. He made it way cheaper and way more simple in terms of like what it does. It's Mexican tech. These guys are, every time we go down there, they've got something new for us.
Maybe before we jump to the pictures, just high level, Nacho, do you want to walk people through what the plan is as of now? It's like we're not going to change. There's some specifics we'll add to this, but
okay, yeah. I mean, the only thing that's still up in the air is which day we'll kind of talk with the Rotary down there. And so the Rotary Club down there is a group of women run their Rotary Club, and so we're hoping to do kind of a meeting with them, and that may be the very first day. Might even be before most of the group gets here. It might just be with Fred and the Rotary guys. But that's the only thing that'll change from this. So essentially, we'll fly into Del Bajío, Mexico, which is 45 minutes away from Irapuato, where Choice headquarters in Mexico is located. And so they'll come, they'll pick us all up. We'll go back to Irapuato. We'll stay at a hotel that night, have kind of an orientation dinner, and then kind of do a breakfast the next morning. We might spend a little bit of time in Irapuato, but the big thing is we'll stop at the Choice headquarters there and see all the things that they're involved in right now. So that'll be, you can see a pilot aquaponics thing, the very first one we did down there, some other ones they've been working on, and then all the other things that Choice does down there. So that's like cisterns, chicken coops. They've got all kinds of different animals. They've got fire digester. They got a bunch of different cool projects that they're working on. So we'll see all that. And then that afternoon, so that'd be Sunday afternoon, we'd head into the village. And we're not, the village is not yet decided. There's two places that Juan is looking at and kind of still figuring out which one makes the most sense to do it in. And it also kind of depends on if the Rotary ladies can come and see if which one would be better
Next
for
week
them.
they'll find that out. The main thing that you guys would need to consider is how far is that going to make our drive Sunday, after lunch. And so other than that, specifics on accommodations, what our setup's going to be, starting next week, we'll have a pretty clear picture of that, but are going to be almost the same regardless. So that's,
The villages are two separate villages.
they're actually both near Irapuato because we're aiming to work with the Irapuato Rotary. So they're actually both, so that's likely going to be within an hour to 2 hours driving, which is less than I think what you guys, way less. This is a lot less driving than you guys did last time.
That'd be really nice. And closer to Guanajuato too.
Yep.
The end of the week. So Sunday we'll head into the village. They'll do like kind of a orientation, kind of see the village, see where we're gonna sleep, see what kind of like our living quarters will be like for the week. And then Monday through Thursday will be village work, as well as lots of different intercultural activities, and that can range from anything from like piñata making and like cooking tortillas and seeing what the village people do for work in the afternoons. And then like we might do like a day in the life where we just go with somebody for an afternoon and just see what they do throughout the day. And then so Jordan might have some ideas on what other things we might. It depends on the village too.
Every, for those who, where am I? Whoops, I'm going the wrong way. For those who haven't been, expeditions are essentially a combination of a bunch of things that we know, and then the fact that we're entering an environment that's just inherently unpredictable. We're not in an insecure way, but that there's a lot of opportunities that make this, for those who've been multiple times, every time, even though we're working on aquaponics, the project pace is going to vary. There's going to be huge challenges. And so as a group, we're just kind of navigating that. So one of the factors that comes up, we're going in project mindset, but there's, a community who's typically never interacted outside of media, or maybe a family abroad with people from the United States. And so this becomes kind of an opportunity for a lot of learning in weird ways, not so weird ways. That's games, that's a bunch of, and a lot of that is organic. So your leaders, who's going to be Keith and not Joe and Alan, who've been out in the field, part of their job is going to be making sure just as a group, you guys successfully kind of navigate those changes as they happen, and then take advantage of the stuff that comes up. And so that means, I don't think many groups work harder than our aquaponics team based off of at least
we just crank them out.
the feedback we hear. You guys are there for the project, and it's a lot to do, and you can physically get it to a certain point, but there's always going to be stuff that we hope the group can create space for, and you've got Keith, who's been down to Mexico. I don't know how long you were at Choice, Keith. 14 years. Keith's a fixture, and he's probably the most beloved person in Choice with the Mexico team. So you're like going down with their favorite human. You will all benefit from that fact, which means we get special treatment.
I think one of the things we'll focus more on this trip than we have in the past aquaponics trips is trying to facilitate more of that intercultural exchange and scheduling the work when there's time for work, but then also trying to schedule time around the community to just get to know them and kind of see what they look like.
And here's just a high level. You guys can kind of see where, big picture, this is where you'll be. So central Mexico, about 3 hours north of Mexico City. You're going to fly into Leon right up here. So this is kind of total drive time collectively that you can expect. But Irapuato, as Nacho mentioned, is 45 minutes. You're going to be within an hour range. We'll let you know what that exactly looks like. It may be more, but from Irapuato. And then after the time in the community, you're going to head, so we'll probably be 2 hours into Guanajuato. And Nacho, I don't know if you want to now walk through just some of the steps project-wise of what
Okay,
people
yeah.
can expect. And
So basically, we've got like a whole list of basically the things that it takes to get one of these projects up and running. And so this will be throughout the week. We've got so we stake out the bed, dig out the raft bed, attach the chicken. So there's a bunch of different tasks that we'll divide into teams to work on. And that's the Mexico team. So as we divide into teams, it'll be groups of 2 or 3 or 4 of us and 2 or 3 Choice Mexico people too. And that could be people from the village, that could be people from the Choice Mexico team, and we'll all kind of divide up, go to our different stations and just get to work on whatever our specific thing is. It'll take about 3 days to get the project done. It depends on where they get it to beforehand. Last time they had dug some of the pit for us and staked out some stuff for us, but if they haven't done any of that, it might take an extra half day, or it kind of just depends on the trip, what that ends up looking like. And so there's a few pictures in here of one of the last times. This was 2 times, so this was in Tixmatahe by Akambai. And so they're doing it with cinder blocks, and we did this one mostly with cinder blocks, but since then we've adjusted the layout, and we'll be pounding stakes and kind of doing more of a Mexican style installation where they attach a chicken wire to 2 sides of a hardware cloth. And this is something they do on just about all of their projects, and it ended up being cheaper and saving space for us too. So we'll be doing that on this next project.
you want me to pull up those other photos, or
Yeah, let's pull up those other photos.
and we can just, I guess, touch on this real quick. Expectations wise, there's going to be typically 2 types of housing. When we know the community, we'll let you guys know what that looks like. One option is going to be broken out into family homes. So that means 1 or 2 beds in a home. These are cement homes, typically with a toilet and a shower. Sometimes that toilet requires a bucket to flush. Sometimes that shower is hot. But that's kind of the range of, and that would be like the high end. That's like our Ritz option. and then on the other spectrum is going to be something more like you'll see down here, kind of a community center, classroom type space where the whole group's laid out. In either scenario, packing wise, I think you guys have a general packing list that we sent out, but you're going to pack warm in layers. And you're going to pack for like group camping. So that means for sure bring an air mattress or camping mattress that you're comfortable with, and a warm sleeping bag, and a bag that you're kind of going to be living out of, while because whether you're in the home or not, you're still going to want to make sure you've got extra bedding. Just make sure you're comfortable, make sure you're warm. When we determine what the housing situation looked like, the main factor that you might consider, do I need an air mattress or not? If, I'm going to be on a bed or something like that. Even when we know that we're going to be in a bed, I think that's sometimes still a gamble to bet on that bed being super comfortable.
And Mexico has
We have
cots
cots.
that they offer everybody too. So if that's something you'd rather have.
And yeah, there'll be a cot, but as we mentioned, it's likely going to be cooler at nights, cooler in the morning. So all the layers you would normally have for camping, your fleece layers, your down layers, your end-all jacket to make sure you're warm, and then days are pretty moderate. And kind of the way I characterize the climate is like Cedar City around this time Cedar City a little bit warmer than maybe it is this time of year. So it's going to feel like that's kind of geographically going to look a lot like that.
Definitely cold in the mornings.
And once we know the community, we'll know elevation-wise is typically comparable to where we're at now. So I think people in Utah are actually more prepared than most because it's a pretty close transition. The team's going to take care of food. So we'll eat well, 3 meals a day. And
it's good food and clean.
Yeah.
No worries.
The food, water, not things you need to worry about.
Maybe bring some comfort snacks.
Comfort snacks like your jerky, and
Other than that, there's
granola bars and things like that. Yeah, Gatorade mixes. The packing list has a lot of options. Some people.
Do they have monster?
Yeah. I'm seeing some laughing there, which means some people are clearly pegged.
Christian Vollmer came on one of our trips, and we went to like one of the little gas stations beforehand. We bought like 9 Diet Cokes. It's just like he's like, this is my comfort food, Diet Coke.
every day.
There'll be plenty of food.
Yeah. So food's great, and not just covered work. The day's typically structured. You're going to have like a sync up with the team in the morning, have a plan in the afternoon. You're going to meet up in the afternoon and realize that your plan's now fundamentally different from what it was in the morning. And so that's a collaborative process where there's going to be options. Sometimes you're going to get pulled in to fill gaps. Sometimes everyone should feel comfortable to just say, hey, I'm actually interested to dive in on this part or another part. And so,
And are we all going? All of us are going on this same trip. Are we in the same village, same project?
Yeah. Yeah, the groups
So
is
we
going to
meet
be,
each other every day.
yep, for better or worse. So yeah, that's and then learning with the team is going to be a big part of it. A lot of that's informal and up to you. Some of it, Nacho and Keith in particular, I just flat out encourage everyone to take advantage of Keith and Nacho. Probably two of our leaders in Mexico who just have the most history and experience with Nacho with respect to aquaponics and the team. But Keith, the history, the culture, the Mexican choice history is just a wealth of knowledge. We don't always have that combination on trips, which is great. So, and a lot of that's with the community. You guys all work together already, so what your culture is as friends and coworkers. But because we'll be inviting in other folks, right? We're going to make sure that this expedition has enough people to make it a viable, successful expedition. So there's going to be some folks maybe outside, and we'll chat about that as we recruit the FNC community, and also with the Rotary and things like that. And these are things, we'll come back to these in orientation in country because it'll make more sense there. But Choice over 30 years has taken, I don't know how many, we're actually counting right now. Yeah. It's an internship project. How many people over the 30 years, and there's pretty much an equation for what tees people up to have this be an amazing experience for them personally and to be a fun person to travel with, regardless of your background. And that's kind of humor. You're really situationally aware and very flexible. And in country, you'll navigate those, I think, a whole lot more. These you'll talk about more in country. You can look at those, but Choice is a non-denominational, apolitical organization, and Juan and his team have built a lot of respect for communities, and it's a touchy subject for international development organizations to build strong, trusting relationships. And so we come in, and it's an opportunity to make that relationship way stronger, or sometimes confirm stereotypes and misconceptions. And I'll be, particularly now, politics aside, there is an inherent interest in the U.S.-Mexican relationship. You'll probably get questions.
It'll get brought up for sure.
You'll get questions from people you think would have no good reason having curiosities about our current political positions and things like that. And so it's an opportunity to add, to reaffirm some of the things that are apolitical. We're decent people. We're here to partner with you. And it's going to be a part of the exchange. I found in almost all of our countries over the last 6 to 7 months, it's a large source of curiosity. And so it's a chance for us to reaffirm
that we're here for the human.
we're here for the human-to-human interaction. And yeah, so
we all bring hats.
It's gonna be hard to travel.
And then other things that you'll probably touch on more. There's stuff to bring. Yeah, we're building aquaponics. Yeah, there are cinder blocks there, but they're restricted. We don't do individual gift giving. It's a strong part of our model. These communities are putting in a lot of time and energy to be equal partners. They own this project, and their expectation is not than anything to hand out. And it's also something that helps build that trust. So there are ways to give stuff, sports equipment, soccer balls, things like that as you get preparing. All are encouraged to bring because they facilitate a lot of interaction. and then we can give them to the community as a whole through the school system, kind of in appropriate ways. Packing list talks about some of that stuff. So, we'll probably, as we get the group together, maybe do one more orientation a few weeks before that gets into some of this. But packing list stuff's up here. Maybe pause it just to see if anyone has any questions.
For what it's worth, just packing list is a great list. Having a pair of good work gloves, which is probably on there anyways, for what we're doing is a must.
Definitely. It's an easy thing to forget too.
Yeah.
And
then
There's two types of work gloves from Mexico in particular that are useful to have because of the sometimes ferro cement technology. One is like a gardening work glove that you can actually get in. There's like a knitting process sometimes that we work with this mesh, and having like a very maneuverable garden glove is kind of helpful, and then like a leather glove where you don't need you're digging with and things like that.
Yeah, I was using the pig. And
having some boots that you can just take off and kind of put aside. So bringing an extra clean pair of something to wear.
I think David on the last one brought a pair of like those big rubber boots and just left them down there with Juan and the team afterwards. So I think that's pretty typical to do that. If you don't feel like packing them back, the dirty boots back.
Yeah, and packing, I always tell folks, everyone has their own style. I'm kind of a minimalist. When I pack, I bring like 2 outfits that I change into to work in every day. And so you're literally like, it's a miserable start to the day to like crawl into disgusting clothes. But you're there, they're there. Sometimes they're wet, sometimes they're not. But then you've got a clean pair that you're using at 5 o'clock after work's done to hang out in. And you can usually get by without going through all your clothes pretty fast. So, a couple ways to approach it, but layers is just going to be key. Yes, Nacho, do you want to throw up maybe some of those photos just
Let's
to
talk
add?
a little bit about the system.
Yeah.
And just images of it and give people kind of a sense of, most of you guys already know. So.
Yeah, let me pull up, we've got another. Okay, pull this up.
Oh, this is the last expedition, right?
Yeah, so let me now just make sure we share the right.
15 or so photos.
Okay.
So this is like over at the Choice Center. We can just go through these fairly quick too, if people just kind of get an idea.
Well, yeah, if you want to add context to what we're looking at.
This is our this is our system in Irapuato that's going. Let's see, this is the team. So when we arrive at the village, there's typically some sort of cultural exchange. This Agua Blanca, they pulled out all the stops when we showed up. It was legit. This was the village up at near 10,000 feet above sea level. It was really a cool, beautiful place. And they grow these flowers in the greenhouse they did in another Choice expedition, these Alcatraz flowers that they had for us. So this is kind of the system. We'll have a greenhouse that'll be up and erected, and then we will be building inside that greenhouse. So the greenhouse is a part of the project, but it's done before we get there. And then the first job is to kind of clear out this area here for our raft bed. So that's kind of a lot of physical labor, just digging that out, getting it ready. We just kind of camped. Here's kind of these are the walls assemblages that we used.
That's where the garden gloves come in.
A lot of guys working, and I think a lot of guys are bringing kids. Lincoln came last time. This was the only child, and it was great. But if we have the more kids, the better. It's a really fun time. So here we are setting up the other bed. This is the one that's above ground. This is probably day 2 of our, don't you think? Day 2. We're basically.
Probably day 3, actually, I bet.
Yeah, day 3 because we got all the travel. This was fun at night. Who brought the little beads?
That was Andy, Skylar.
Skylar.
Brought those.
Yeah, that was a cool move. She brought these beads, and every night the women made little necklaces, bracelets, and stuff. That was a cool thing. These are the fish tanks.
Jonathan.
So the system has water. These are the fish tanks that ultimately created fish. The bulk beds are now built.
So like when we first divide up on like the very first day, we'll have some people out digging. So that's just a pond liner inside of a pit that we dug. So we'll have some people out there squaring up this pit, digging it to the right size. We'll have some people doing the wire mesh. We'll have some people working on preparing the six. So there's 6 of those 1 meter by 1 meter cube tanks, the 1,000-liter tanks. We'll have some people working on cutting those, washing those, preparing those, and then some people cutting pipes. And then as we go throughout the week, we'll kind of some aspects of the project will get finished, and they'll be able to move on and help move gravel, wheelbarrow gravel, pound stakes, and so we'll just have like a bunch of different things that people are working on at any given time.
This is the last day. This is just getting everything tuned and plumbed and working. That's Lalo right there, standing up. Right there. There's Lalo. And some of the women that were in the last village.
And we had some extra time at the end of the last one, so we kind of built up this little embankment wall on that last picture.
Yeah.
We all kind of built up here so that it didn't get washed out. But we'll just kind of assess with how much time we have, what else we want to work on.
With Ryan.
Ryan sends his regards. He is in Nepal for 3 months now.
Is he really?
leading trips for us.
So the latter half of the trip, once we're done with the in-country or the doing all the physical labor with the villagers, we'll go to Guanajuato.
Guanajuato.
Yeah. And we went to.
Have you been to Guanajuato?
I haven't. I'm really
Okay, cool.
excited. So we went to San Miguel de Allende, which is like a really quaint, really kind of historical Mexican town. I hear Guanajuato's even.
Yeah, Guanajuato is a bigger, more vibrant, more colorful, more romantic version of San Miguel de Allende. I mean, they're both amazing. Guanajuato is one of my favorite towns, and it's also one of the the safest, most navigable places to just get out and meander. So that's going to be.
That's Friday, Saturday.
So yeah, you'll get there.
Thursday night.
So you guys took off a little bit earlier, I think, last time. This time, the plan is early Friday morning. Once we get the community determined, they'll make a final assessment over days and time and things like that. We have some flexibility around that. Normally, we would head out of the village early Friday morning, get there by about noon to 1 o'clock for lunch or have lunch en route. And then you've got all Friday evening, kind of afternoon in Guanajuato, kind of a farewell dinner with the team that night at the hotel. The hotel that's planned for Guanajuato is right. It's really cool. It's right in it's in an old steam. It is. It's called yeah. You'll overnight there. Depending on when your flights come out or depart, I should say, you might have all Saturday to explore around in Guanajuato. You can also extend a night and
Reed's already extended a night
and have all of Saturday just for sure. It's the flights you're typically, if you're leaving in the morning, some of them leave at like 6 a.m. You're home by like 1. Some of them leave around 1 or 2. You're home later. But
That was cool to get there Thursday because then we had everyone had all Friday to really get to the city.
So
It
I mean,
depends on our logistics, I guess.
so we can some of the logistics and considerations around extra hotel nights and things like that. Some of that will depend just budget and cost, and we kind of talk about that number of folks and just what project time, because usually you're in the community. First day of work is typically Monday. That's Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday, which could be 3 days of work or 4 days of work, and usually factoring in that the last day you're probably going to work till about lunch, and then there's the last day part of the day is usually a wash because you're celebrating some village farewells and things like that. And so where it's a smaller group, we can kind of plan around that. We've probably got about 2 to 3 weeks of wiggle room on the agenda. I think when we know the full group size and the community size, we can sync up on that.
Perfect.
Okay. That's great. And see what the recommendation from Juan and the team is. But so flight wise, at this stage, I would encourage people to book with the parameters on the itinerary that we have if you're looking to get a flight sooner rather than later, which is arrive some point Saturday on the 6th before about 5 to 6 o'clock. Yeah, what do you see?
Kind of the earliest flights were landing at 5:30.
Yeah. If it's the
To that airport, unless you left like super early. You left at a reasonable
what was
time.
your connection? Was that the Houston or Dallas?
Kayak, and I don't know where it was.
Yeah, it varies. We have flights that come in 2 waves generally into Leon. One is at 1:30, and then one can be the like 5:30 or 7:30 flight. We can work with any of those
Last
to
time
make it work.
We all came in at like 7.
Yeah.
That's the last thing.
And so, because the first day is going to be spent kind of in Irapuato, not that Irapuato isn't an awesome, exciting town. There's definitely stuff to see there, but it's just like visiting, a normal. No, you would have no other reason to be there. It's not touristic.
Yeah,
That's a good point. So, you can, we can work with showing up and do it later.
The 5:30 arrival time, I would say, is probably ideal to
Yeah.
get enough time to go into the hotel and then
Chill out, have a
chill
late
out right
dinner.
before dinner. Dinner's probably around.
We'll try to get. We'll get like an email going around where everyone's. Hey, these are the flights I'm booking.
And I can, if you guys want, we work with a gal named Blair at Christopherson Business Travel. I don't know if you guys worked with her in the past.
We never have, but we should.
The last time we did.
Usually I'll connect up with Blair and say, hey, here are the flights that for sure work. And then you guys can just email or call her. Get a quote. I can't guarantee it's going to be cheaper than maybe something you'd find on kayak. So, but she'll definitely let you know, oh, by the way, 3 people are on this flight, 2 are on this one. There's some benefits, extra baggage, and usually she is as affordable as you would find elsewhere. So she also sells a almost free, high quality like travel insurance product too, which is part of their humanitarian travel stuff. And I think that might be in the email I sent along. So I can connect up with Blair if you guys want to do that.
And like I said, Reed has already they booked an extra hotel, or they didn't get their flight until the next day. So typically the expedition kind of wraps up on Saturday, but Reed and Preston are staying an extra night too. And if people want to stay an extra night in Guanajuato, I think that's an awesome thing to do and would definitely be worth it. It's just so cool.
And it's a city you can feel very comfortable getting your bearings and very safe to explore around in, souvenirs, etc. And I think, yes, there's going to be more. Juan and the team usually stick around if they can.
Are there flights that go out Sunday morning?
There are flights that leave in the AM and then some that leave around like 2 p.m., which would be get you home later evening. So
Talk about computer cell phone communication down there.
yeah, I mean it's probably going to be like you'll have electricity and be able to charge whatever you would need to while in the community. And if we're in homes, probably right there in the homes. 2, it's probably likely that you're going to have cell phone service. So depending on your provider, some plans include Canada and Mexico. You're good to go on that. I don't always think that's a great thing. You're busy, life moves on when you're gone, and it can be just so much. It's a rare little treat.
Kind of cool.
Disconnect, be super present. But we'll see for sure. Technology, smartphones, they're increasingly prevalent for good reason out in communities, and I find it's actually really nice to just kind of check out or unplug. But communication, family, friends will be able to get in contact with you, and vice versa. There's a chance there's spotty reception.
Yeah. In the village, I've never had reception for the last 2 times.
Yeah,
But
I didn't.
people like hike to the top of a hill.
There's
That's right.
people find it.
But in the
when there's a will, there's a way.
in the town, you'll have it. Like when we go to Europe,
Yeah.
Guanajuato will
Yeah.
have sure Wi-Fi. The hotels we stay at are nice. They're not. So
Yeah, so the hotels will be a nice little reboot.
When we get back into Guanajuato at the end of the expedition, feel like everybody's gonna want to like go straight to the shower, straight to like probably even a nap too. Like people are just beat by that day. Even Wednesday, a lot of time people are kind of slugging along.
Yeah, no, it's
like
it's interesting.
it's hard work.
The
for sure, like,
experience
to come.
is Wednesday is kind of the mental hurdle. You know, it's where you hit it and you're like, oh wow, I'm into the project, I'm getting tired, and pushing through Thursday is just this universal experience.
It's true.
Go through.
It's a lot of fun.
That makes Friday and the farewell and all that really, really cool, really special.
Friday's awesome.
Any questions? I mean, we've covered a lot, and you guys have,
Some more
Lance knows
pictures.
more about this experience than us. I've never even been on an aquaponics expedition.
Well, the good news is every time we do it, it gets easier, quicker, more efficient. And last time we tried some cool stuff, we really liked it. So it just gets more scientific as we go, and each system gets. I'm more proud of that last system before, and it'll get to a point. There are a few specialized items that we do need to bring down. When I say specialized, just like a few things that are important to bring. So if people are open to it, I'll send out an email with a few ideas, things that we could get, like a chalk line or some duct tape or the flout. Who's going to carry the flout? That kind of stuff. And if people are open to it, just keep some of that stuff. It's big. So it just makes stuff faster.
There's just like some pictures of what it'll look like 3 to 6 to 9 months down the road afterward.
So just go back to that last one. Is that the last? That's when you were just down there.
This is in Irapuato, yeah.
Just that last trip.
Yep. And then let's see, there's a couple more. Here's the fish, 9 months, actually that's 10 months after they got them. Yeah. It says this is in Tixma de Hay. This is our first.
That's our first in country.
This is our first one not
That
at the
is
Choice
like
Center.
It looks healthy in there.
Lalo.
And that's high altitude.
And then this one's back in Irapuato. He's selling. This is Lalo selling. He'll take those to an organic food store in town.
So does Lalo kind of teach 2 or 3 of the villagers, kind of how to work and all that?
Yeah, we kind of do like a quick workshop as we finish up what they'll do, but then Lalo's the guy that'll go back the next week and the next week and kind of help them plant and like go through the day-to-day operations, because that's kind of like what I did with him when we first set our first one up. But yeah, there's just a few other pictures.
And it's cool because the villagers of Agua Blanca toured Irapuato, not Tixma de Hay, but Irapuato,
Which one did they go to? I think they went to Irapuato, yeah.
and saw it and said,
Okay.
"This is what we want. Let's do it." So it's cool now because people are like, "I saw it." Whereas before we were like, "We're going to tell you what it is."
You'll like it, trust me.
Well, you guys in Agua Blanca had the benefit of, and this is pretty typical of how Choice Elite aims to approach working with communities is, certain communities are already involved in a sector or an industry and they're building out their capacity. So those women were already growing in kind of cooperative format, the flowers, things like that. And so bringing in aquaponics fits into a structure that community-wise they've already put in place, so that it just expands the tools at their disposal. It isn't trying to change behaviors around, how to manage that, how to collaboratively do that. So,
And they get the what would be harder for us to get, like, well, what do I do with all these photos? They get all that a lot better than we get. They have great phones. They have areas and markets they can take their stuff and sell it, and they can obviously make use of it. Nothing goes to waste. So they're great at that kind of stuff. Once they get past the little bit of the training that's necessary from Lalo, then they start to get really excited about it. It's a year-round thing. So we're excited.
cool. Well, next steps are just going to be making sure, I think, that us here at Choice have everyone's contact info who's considering going.
I sent you that list.
And I think, I can get that, and we'll continue to tighten that up with Lance as people get ready. Applications, getting those in, and getting flights and things taken care of.
Lance and I will kind of talk, because the way we structure this is kind of a partnership where there's project costs, and so we kind of we structure it differently than we would normal expedition. What that means is some of the cost depends on group size, but that cost is not going to range more than $800 to $1,000 a person. We would like to know what that looks like much sooner so you guys can plan accordingly, and that kind of ranges loosely around 12 people or so. So kind of under 12 puts it at about 1,000, over 12 and up gets us at about 800, which is our goal, right? And then, choice, we kind of fill in the gaps, and they support
hard costs for the
the hard
materials.
costs on the material. So those costs essentially cover all our costs in country, the expenses of the team, and then ongoing project funds. But in this instance, that's less the case than normal. So, questions just on logistics. There's no visa requirements for Mexico. There are no, other than an active passport that's valid, no shots that are required. But if you haven't traveled to remote areas generally, then there's some recommended shots, and that all is in your travel appendix that read through, essentially meeting a travel clinic and getting up to speed on the basic vaccinations. But right now, plenty of time for that stuff. So
Yeah, sure. Next week we'll be able to send out the information on what the village is, kind of if there's any special considerations for where we're at, its high elevation.
great. Cool. And I don't know if you guys, I introduced Keith, but I also want to introduce Alan. Alan has been, how long have you been a full-time volunteer with Joyce?
2.5 years.
2.5 years, full-time volunteer from Spanish Fork every day in the office, wears multiple hats that range from almost office manager to special projects coordinator, handles all of our volunteers and interns, all of our digital media, photos, assets, and does a lot of field training. And he's heading out on this trip, which is great because it's been how long since you've come out into the field?
I had 3 positions. I'm going to probably go from this expedition down to Spanish school.
Yeah, that's great.
Where do you go in Guatemala?
Antigua.
Okay.
There are lots of schools there. That's kind of an American town there. I mean, a lot of American tourists go there. So,
Yeah, so Alan's awesome. So like Keith, you guys are going down with some great organizational history and just generally awesome people to work with. So it'll be fun. One of these chicken dinners, I'm going to be able to go on the actual trip. I just get the chicken lunch and kind of get left high and dry. But I'll take it. You guys are a good group to work with.
Yeah, thanks.
Cool.
Good. All right.
Awesome. And I've recorded this, so we'll send this over to the Rotary guys who couldn't make it.